What's good, y'all? It's your boy J.Brock. It's Clapitup LA. I'm right here with my homegirl, Giggles Irene. As you can see, she laughing already. I ain't even. But you know, let me tell you something, man. Giggles is considered one of the most important figures in the LA music scene. She is currently managing for one of the hottest groups in LA. Shout out to the One Take Boys. She is a writer and she has written for the legendary Rosecrans Avenue blog. Shout out to Rosecrans, Vic, and Callie. Make sure you tune into her podcast, Giggles Irene Radio, and you can also catch her exclusive backstage interviews and sit downs with the hottest rappers around the city, y'all. How you doing today, Giggles?
Today's a little different.
She's on the other side. She's on the other side of the camera today.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I appreciate you pulling up. I know this was a last minute thing, but thank you so much.
No, of course. I know how it is.
Am I the first one to get this interview?
I got interviewed by a radio station in San Diego like 2 years ago.
Okay.
But I feel like this is gonna be like more like breaking down
in
of
depth.
because
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
See, she doing big things. She getting interviewed on radio stations and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? That's big stuff right there. By the way, before we get into this game, shout out to Catch 22. New music coming out soon. Shout out to Cypress Marino. You know what I'm saying? Make sure y'all tap into Catch 22. It's a lot of big things going on. Now, growing up, where did you grow up at?
I grew up in San Diego.
So you're from San Diego?
That's something, a lot of people don't know that.
Okay.
I don't really
But I mean, why not though? Why you don't talk about it more?
I don't know. Just, I don't know. I grew up there half my life and then I moved but my dad always says I'm an East LA baby because that's where he grew.
Okay.
My parents are from East LA and like from when I was a baby until about 5, we were in East LA with family every weekend. Yeah. I don't remember any of it, but he's like, no, you're an LA baby.
So you don't remember nothing about San Diego at all?
No, I don't remember anything about LA.
Okay.
When we would come visit family and stuff.
Okay.
But San Diego, I was born in La Jolla, so yeah.
Okay, well, for those of you who didn't know, that's something definitely new to me. Now, you get this name Giggles, okay? You can tell she laughed a lot. You know what I'm saying?
It's like my nervous tick. Like,
no, it's okay. So when exactly did somebody give you the name? What moment was that?
It was my 4th grade teacher.
Okay.
Oh no, I lied. Just kidding. Okay, so in 4th grade, some girl used to call me Giggle Box because I would just laugh all the time. And then in 6th grade, my English teacher was like, I'm just gonna call you Giggles. Yeah. But he did it for like maybe like a week or so, and then like everybody forgot about it.
Really?
But when it came to like, AIM, and I'm totally giving away my age here, and like MySpace and stuff, I was like, no, I'm going with Giggles. So I just kept Giggles Irene.
Wow. And see, the thing is, it fits you. You know what I'm saying? It's not unnatural. It's very authentic. And it's like before I even knew that you giggled like this, it fit you though. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, when did you realize? Okay, you said it's your nervous tick. Does laughing make you? Does giggling make you like comfortable in situations?
I just don't know what else to do, so I laugh. It's just a thing.
Have you ever laughed like in a real serious moment where you
I pissed off Jay a few times, but he's like, "Why are you laughing?" I'm like, "Cause I don't know what else to do." I try not to, but it's just like, I don't know. It's just I've always just been told like, "Oh, your giggle is so contagious. Like your laugh is contagious."
No, that's true.
I'll hear, "Oh, like I love her laugh," and I'm just like, "Really?" And then I don't know, growing up, I always got both like, oh, it's annoying, but I love it. And like, I just learned to embrace it.
She said it's annoying, but I love it. I mean, but that's naturally you, and that's a beautiful thing because, one of the things you spoke about is being unapologetic. Unapologetically you. You know what I'm saying? I'm tripping. and sometimes as a male, like I feel like if I'm laughing all the time, I'm being too silly, and it's like, no, chill, stop laughing so much. But when that's you, that's perfectly fine because that's who you are. Yeah. So have you ever had to overcome? Have you ever had any confidence battles with that? Like wondering if it was maybe a little. Yeah. Okay.
But like. I went through like a lot of different journeys where I had to like cut people off or kind of just break myself down to build myself up because I was kind of living by like what other people would tell me, like, oh, like you're too much, you're too this, you're too that. Yeah. So when I started to cut those people off and not listen to others, that's when I really started to embrace myself and become successful because I was following my heart instead of the directions of like other people that didn't even like have any experience in what I was trying to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I understand that because, you know, especially now on social media, that's what we see. Oh, well, I really can't afford it, but I'm gonna go get this Benz and ride around in the Benz. You know what I'm saying? Like things like that. And you know, deep down inside, we're unhappy. And you know, the sad thing is people think that we got to look like the next person to be happy when you realize, okay, that don't make me happy.
Exactly.
Being me makes me happy. But then a lot of people think that being them is weird. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like, what would you say to somebody who feels that, well, I got to impress people. If I'm being me, what would you say to them in order to help them understand that being you is the best thing to do?
Well, for me, what I had to do was like pretty much journal. Like being like the writer that I am, I journaled, and I was like, okay, why, like, am I happy when I'm around people, but when I'm by myself, I'm like beating myself up. Yeah, you know. So I kind of had to, like, you really just have to dig deep down and be like, okay, what is it that you want? Like, how do you want to be remembered? And yeah, I just always wanted to be comfortable in my own skin, and I'm still battling that, but I am way more comfortable now than I was like during like high school, middle school years, you know.
Well, the thing is, it's a never-ending battle. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And I think people get, because you got to understand, life is full of ups and downs. And I think people get kind of confused and discouraged when it's like, okay, I said I want to be confident, but now I'm faced with this situation where I don't feel so confident. And it's like, look, just fight back. Just continue to fight back. And the more you do it, the stronger you'll get. So we're talking about high school, okay? Now, in high school, you realize you want to be part of the radio scene, despite the wishes and again, what people would say that you should be like. You know what I'm saying? So when you're in high school, what made you feel like I want to be heard on the radio? You know what I'm saying? What was that?
It was a DJ actually, and he would DJ like all of our high school parties, and like they had like it was like a 16 and up like club that they would do in like the town that I grew up in, and he was there like every week, and I was just like, dude, like I want to be like a DJ, but not like a DJ. Like I wanted to be like on the radio. I want to play music that I want to hear. I want to be able to like give people prizes, make people's day, and I just wanted to be. I wanted to be a voice, not a face. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And technology kind of fucked that up for me, but you know, we're here.
I mean, but you can still be that though.
Yeah. But I wanted to be like the voice behind the mic, like you know, because like. Back in the day, it was just a voice that people heard. You know, I didn't like. It's weird when people are like, "Oh my God, you're Giggles, Irene." And I'm like, "Fuck, how do they know?" And I'm just like, "Oh yeah, YouTube, thanks." And Instagram, like you know. So
no, listen, you know that's a weird thing when you come from. Well, I have a specific reputation, but when I got into this situation, people started to notice me for this, and it was people that I didn't know. Like somebody, it's probably been 2 or 3 people. I was at a party, it was dark, right? And somebody was like, "Yeah, they're gonna clap it up." I'm like, "Bro, who are you?" Like, how do I, you know what I'm saying? Like, do I know you? It was crazy. But okay, so when people start to notice you, and they know what you do, does that give you a warm feeling inside? Does that make you feel successful?
It was, now it does. Before, like in the beginning when I first started writing for Rosecrans and people would tell me like, "Oh, I read your write-up," I'd be like, "Shut up, like you lied. I'm gonna continue writing about you. You don't have to lie." And then they would tell me like, "No, the way you broke down my song, that's really what I meant." And I'd be like, "Oh shit, this motherfucker really read it." Like, you know? So that's when I felt like, I was like, okay, cool. Like my love for writing is helping me in one way or another, like, you know, because it helped me build my confidence, and then it helped me tap in with like all my favorite artists.
And see, that's deep, because I can't imagine being a writer. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't know what you got to do to write. I don't know how much time it take to write, and I'm sure you got to be a pretty fast typer. You know what I'm saying? So when did you realize that writing was something that you were passionate about?
I get it from my mom, actually. So my mom, I would always just watch her write letters to her friends when we lived in San Diego. She would write letters to her friends in LA. Like all of her siblings were spread out, so she would write to them, send them pictures and stuff.
Ah, because that was pre-text message.
Yes, very much pre-text message. And so she always had little notebooks, so I wanted little notebooks and I wanted little pens and stuff. And I would just, you know, when you're little, well, when girls are little, they have like diaries and stuff. So instead of writing about like my everyday, I would make up stories. And I realized I was good in 4th grade because I won first place for my birthday story that I wrote back then, and my 4th grade teacher, Miss Lomax, shout out to her. I tried to find her on Facebook, but like I couldn't.
I mean, I didn't try that too. You got to get the yearbook and look at the name and stuff.
But I don't know if she got married or what. Like that day, she told me, she was like, she told during that like ceremony, she said that she always looked through the papers to read mine first because she knew mine was gonna be.
Oh, so
like,
she was
face.
special.
Yeah, so I was like, oh, okay. So that's when I was like, cool. Like I could, like I'm maybe I'm good at writing, and then I would just fill up journals with poems, stories, and stuff. And
okay, so you wrote poetry.
I have a poetry Instagram. I'm not gonna tell y'all what it is.
Okay, well look, like, y'all heard it here. We gotta find it. When I find it, I'm gonna put it on my story. Look out for that.
Yeah, like I've just always loved writing. Even when I worked like in fast food, like ages ago, like I would come home with like napkins, like that had like my little poems in it, because I wasn't allowed to be on my phone.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dang, like that. That's deep. She wrote on the napkins.
Yeah.
Somebody else did. Tupac on the movie. I don't know if this happened in real life, but Tupac, didn't he write the piece of paper to Jada on the movie or something like that? Now that's deep. That's how you know you got it bad. When you got that itch where you gotta do it wherever you at.
Now I do it all on my phone, but
But sometimes you know what's something about the phone ain't as satisfying as getting the pen on the paper.
It's really not. Like, like my homie bought me like a feather pen, and I love writing with that thing. Like I'd rather pen to paper is just I don't know, it's just because I'm old school or what. But
I'm not gonna cap. You see this? This is my notes right here. I tried to do it in the phone or type it in my computer. It's just not the same. It just not. It does really not feel the same, and that's crazy. So we got to take it back to who were some of the radio personalities that you initially liked. You know what I'm saying? Not that you wanted to be like them, but you were like, man, I love hearing this person on the radio.
Yeah. Well, Jeff Pope from 99.1. I would listen to him every day on the way to school. Who else? Obviously, like Letty, Big Boy.
Shout out Letty.
Like, that's like every time I see her and I run into her, I'm just like, holy shit, I used to listen to you. Like it's like mind blowing.
Man,
you know?
Look, I'm trying to tell you, when I run into you, it's like, damn, I used to see her on YouTube, and now I get to talk to her. I'm telling you, the first day I met her, I asked her 100,000, 50 million questions because I just wanted to know more.
Yeah.
And I know you have that, you have that insight, and it's a beautiful thing. So, okay, so we got to talk about, we're going to get to this in a minute.
Okay.
She goes from in the crowd to backstage and on stage. It's a beautiful thing. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So let's get into, in 2015, you earned your advanced audio tech certificate. Okay, and you were an intern at a local rock station, and you wanted to be on air, but the company switched platforms and laid everybody off.
Yeah.
Now, in 2015, because you were around that situation, there was a picture you posted on Instagram. You said, I got a taste of what I would like part of my future to be like. And that was Audio Tech Morningstar Production. Now, what was going on exactly that day?
So that day, it was my first day as like an intern, where it was stage production. Okay. So we showed up at 6 a.m. on Easter Sunday, and we built the stage, we put the LEDs up, the TVs up, we set up the mics. It was one like long ass hot day, but I was like, this is cool. This is what I wanted to do, because in school I learned radio broadcasting, audio technology, Foley, like how to mix and master, all that stuff. So that included like doing front of house like sound and lighting. So yeah, that's what I did that day, and I was like, cool, I could do this. I didn't get picked to stay, but I was just like, okay, I know that like obviously with more practice, like this is something I could do. And I pictured myself like in the future, like cool, I could be on tour and I could do lights or production or something, you know?
And that's funny because one of the things that you spoke about was, before it happened, you were like, I want to go on tour. You know, I want to be on radio. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And the funny thing is, it happened. You know what I'm saying? It really happened. Now, when you're there and you're actually building everything up, you know, being a part of the organization, you didn't lose any type of love or anything like that for, because you know, some people, okay, on the gram, all we see is backstage. We don't see the fact that, well, I was here at 6 a.m. to build the stage. You know what I'm saying? We don't see that. So nothing changed for you that day at all?
No. If anything, I was like, damn, I need to buy sunscreen. But like, because I was really burnt that day. But like, other than that, no. I was just like, cool. Like in my head, so I had wanted it so bad that when I finally got to do it, I was like, cool. Like, I was more grateful than anything that I got to go through that whole day. And I was like, this is something I could do like the rest of my life.
How beneficial do you think that was for you today?
Very beneficial, because now, like, I feel like a lot of people don't know how many different jobs you can acquire in the music industry, because you could be a tour manager, you could do lights, you could do stage production, front of house sound, artist manager, all that stuff. And to me, I just thought like, okay, you either are going to be an artist or you're going to be like this person that plays the music on the radio. But now, like, going through that experience, I'm like, cool, if I don't make it as my plan A, there's other things that'll fall into that same category that I could, dive into.
Yeah. As long as it's fulfilling what's inside. Now, we got to get into this. 2015, 2016. Okay, you working jobs, being a nanny, whatever you had to do to get the bills paid, right? And at the end of the day, what's going on is that it's not fulfilling you on the inside. It's kind of just, damn, I got to do this. I got to do this. And so you reach out to Mies, and things didn't quite necessarily go through.
No.
Right? And you said that you felt like it wasn't meant to be, and you almost gave up.
Yeah.
So when you reach out to Mies, what are the nerves like when you like, okay, let me take this chance?
Okay, so I just like sent him my like resume one day, and I reached out, and I was like, because I love Dreamville so much, and obviously like I'm not in New York or in North Carolina or like where any of his other artists are, but I had tapped into GODS because he's from LA. And I was like, cool, maybe I could become a part of like the team somehow, even if I'm an intern or an assistant or whatever. And I reached out to Mies, and I sent him my resume, and he was like, yeah, I need an assistant, like I'll be in touch. And then I just never heard back. And then I was like, damn, maybe it's not the right time. And then like my head got to me, and I was like, maybe this just isn't for you, because I was working so many countless jobs, and I couldn't get an internship anywhere because I was already graduated from school. And so yeah, you go through those times where it's just like, okay, maybe everybody was right. I should get a 9-to-5 with benefits and blah blah blah. Like, shout out my dad, because he still tells me that to this day, because he doesn't really understand what I do. But he's
like, man, go get a job.
Yeah,
what are you doing?
But yeah, so like those thoughts were always like in the back of my head, And that day they just seemed to be really loud, and I was like, well, we'll just keep on going and see what happens. So I tried not to dwell on it, but I was checking my email like crazy, like waiting for a response,
Well, the crazy T, I can relate to this because, especially doing interviews, before Cypress invited me to come around, all I could do was DM somebody and hope that they didn't think I was a weirdo.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I can understand those nerves. You sitting there like, I probably shouldn't have did it. He probably gonna look at it and leave me
I was
unseen.
so worried because I'm such a big Dreamville fan. I was like, oh, he probably looked through my Instagram and was like, I'm not hiring this fangirl. Like, what the hell? But yeah.
But ultimately, it's the risk that we have to take.
Yeah, of course.
Know what I'm saying? Because the real thing is we never know, and we don't know unless we try.
Yeah.
So okay, that didn't go through, and time goes on. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, you get informed by your old boss, and he tells you a radio station is developing a street team. They need people.
Yep.
You took that quick.
Okay.
And in the midst of all that, you're at a mattress job.
Yeah.
You're working at a mattress company. Yeah. And even with the street team, how was that experience working with the street team?
It was really cool because I already had so much street team experience. So I was kind of like a lead. So I got to train new interns and stuff. And at the time, I was doing like my own podcast from home because I forget what interview it is, but I watched an interview and they said like, if nobody's opening doors for you, build your own door.
That's right.
So I was like, okay, even though I'm not doing what I want to do where I want to do it, like it doesn't mean that I can't like perfect my craft so that when the opportunity arises, like I'll be prepared, you know. So I bought a mic and I was doing my on SoundCloud. Those episodes are hidden now, so you can't find them. But yeah, I was kind of trying to balance just everything and being a street team and pretty much the manager of the mattress store. And
And then you said it got to a point to where you had enough. You know what I'm saying? So she dives into me's DMs again. You know what I'm saying?
It was the most horrible day at the mattress store. Like customers were mad, deliveries were late, and everything falls onto me because I'm the main point of contact for the store. So, you know, customers are telling me off all day. And it's closing and I'm sending out my last emails and I'm just like, hell no, I'm emailing this man again. So I was like, hey, like I know we haven't really been in touch, but I'm just reaching out. And that night he was just like, pull up tomorrow, and he sent me an address and I was just like, cool. And I told my boss like, hey, I'm working a half day tomorrow. I don't know what you're gonna do, but you're gonna have to figure it out.
And, put your foot down.
I left. And then like about a month later, like I left the mattress store for good and I was just with me's all the time.
And see, that's the thing. What I've been learning about how people go through this battle of working a 9 to 5 and trying to chase their dream. You know, I went through the same situation where I hate this job. I'm waking up every day, busting my balls for this job. And I'm thinking to myself, what is this doing for me? It don't make me happy. You know, people telling me, I'm proud of you. Me and my fiance got our own place. We got cars, we got our own cars. That's something to be proud of. But deep down inside, I'm not proud. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, this I'm not living me. But
of course.
That's that whole battle of not believing in myself and wondering what people would think. So through this situation with Mies, this will lead to your very first VIP experience. You look on Giggles' Instagram, she got a picture of Louis G and Mies, and she says, this is my very first time being backstage. I got pictures of everybody else except myself. Why you didn't take no pictures that day?
Okay, so being around them, like they're so connected with Dreamville, and I'm such a fangirl that I tried really hard to like control my inner fangirl for everything. So if I did have my camera out, it was to take pictures of them or of cause or like whatever it is, like, you know. I tried not to. I do have like personal videos that I have, like of, you know, being in the tent and backstage and all that stuff, but I just kept it to myself because I wanted to like continue to prove to them that I'm here to learn and to work, and like not for the
clout.
You know.
And see, it's crazy because now that when you get in a circle with all these people, you're like, I want to get a picture with you though, man. I don't want to hold back. But anyway, so speak on that day. How was it waking up and understanding like I'm about to really have this experience for the first time ever?
It was crazy because there was a problem like with my name at the tent, and I was like, oh my god, I'm not gonna get in. And then it was crazy. Like I had to go through the crowd, and then I had to call Mies, and I was like, hey, like I'm at the stage that they're not letting me in. And then he grabbed me. Once I was with them, I was like, I'm not losing you guys because I don't want to go through this again. But it was really cool to like when I first saw Cause perform at the observatory in like 2014, I believe it was, like I told my little sister like on the way to the show, like I'm gonna work for him one day, watch, like I'm gonna be backstage. And then that day I was just like, this is my full circle moment, because I was on stage taking pictures of him.
That's
so it was just really, I was just trying to soak everything in and kind of learn like, okay, he's here to perform, but he also has to do interviews and do this and that, because I had never worked closely with an artist like that. So I was kind of just being like a sponge, trying to enjoy myself, but also learn for the next time, because I knew he would be doing more shows, you know.
Facts. And that was a big situation there. So to be there, I could imagine that your heart fluttered all throughout the day. Who were some people that you were surprised to see, like, and stand next to?
Dang. Okay, so I remember Tyler, the Creator, walked by us, and I was just like, holy shit, because I wanted to like tap him, but I was just like, no, that's not what you're here for. You know what I mean? That's the one that I remember the most. I remember when Travis Scott arrived. I know nobody really likes him right now, but yeah, I remember when he arrived, because he just was with a big mob of people, and I was just like, holy shit, that's gonna be us, like from now on, you know. Like
facts. You gotta speak it into existence. So, you know, being your very first time there, did you have any conversations with anybody that was very, very informative as to what to expect from that point on.
I had a conversation with one of the women that worked for Dreamville, Camille.
Okay.
She asked me like, oh, like, what are you doing here? Like, no. And I told her like, oh, well, I'm Misa's assistant and I'm just here to enjoy the day and kind of soak everything in. And she was asking me like, oh, what is it that you want to do? Blah, blah, blah. And I was explaining it to her. And she was like, well, there's a lot of other things you could do that go on behind the scenes. So she kind of sparked something in me too, where I was just like, cool, there are women in, because I was around, Midi Gang is all boys, they're all guys, you know. But I was like, cool, there are women out here that are killing it behind the scenes that aren't in radio, because that's all I focused on, you know.
I mean, well, that's all we know is what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't know what's going on in the ingredients.
Yeah, exactly.
So as a woman, do you feel like you've had more challenging times because you are a woman?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
And what do you? Why do you think women have more challenging times in the industry?
I think it has to do a lot with I personally believe it's like social media, because we're supposed to look a certain way and act a certain way. And I've always kind of had conflict with myself, because I was such a tomboy growing up, and I was always with the boys playing sports, soccer, baseball, whatever it was. And like from family, they would be like, oh, put on a dress, like don't be roughhousing. So when it came to radio, like I had people telling me like, no, you're supposed to dress like this, like, and I'm so used to being in jeans and a tee or a hoodie, you know. So I try to like change myself, and then I would find myself at places where I was uncomfortable, like in my own skin, and I was like, okay, I need to.
This ain't me.
Yeah, this isn't me.
I feel you. Now that's the worst thing you can do, is basically give yourself up for somebody. You know what I'm saying? For somebody else's opinion. Now in 2016, this is when we begin to see the reviews. You know, and she was doing reviews for Alt Corner.
Yeah, Alternative Corner.
Alternative Corner. Shout out Alternative Corner. And she has reviews for Blink 182, the Vans Warped Tour. Yeah. And she vlogged for Kanye West, but unfortunately YouTube took it down.
YouTube sucks.
You know what I'm saying? YouTube took it down. But okay, so when you write your reviews, where are you? Because you can't. You need to enjoy the show and write the review. When do you start this review writing process?
So, thanks to technology, like while I'm there, I'll jot down little notes in my notes app, and then like I have to write it like right when I get home in order to get like the most like vivid storytelling.
So you can't have too many drinks or nothing like that.
No.
You can't have too much fun.
But so yeah, they would send me out to like different like alternative rock concerts and stuff, and they would send me like unreleased rock music, because it's an online magazine in the UK. So they would send me music from over there, and I would review it. And yeah, like my best write-ups were when they would send me to like live shows like that.
That's crazy. Yeah. And so when you write these write-ups and you see it on the website, did you ever go and read the stuff again and make sure that you and how would you feel seeing your stuff posted on the website?
I still have the screenshots of like the initial day that they're posted, because I'm like, I save everything like that. And yeah, it's just crazy, because like in middle school, my older brother would be like, why are you listening to that? It's like Good Charlotte and all that stuff. And I'm like, because I like it. And then it ended up being like part of my career later on.
For real,
you know?
Full circle. Yeah. Before you even knew.
Before I even knew, yeah.
Now, when you, how much time do you have to put in when you write these reviews? Typically, how long does it take?
It really depends. Like if I like the music, it takes me like no more than like 30 minutes to an hour, and then they'll edit it and then review it or whatever. But when it's a long review, like my Vans Warped Tour one, that one took me about a day or so, because I overthink it. Like
what are you overthinking about?
I want people to like it, but I also want people to be able to like, I want them to read it as if they were alongside me at the show. So I like try to be descriptive as possible without being corny. Like, you know, just I just want people to be able to paint it in their head. Does that make sense?
I understand that. Now, are there any writers that you took notes from that you would look up to?
No, actually, it was just everything just came from habit of like of like my poetry and just like my storytelling.
And pretty much moms.
Yeah,
that's
for
who.
mom,
That's who you looked up to. Understood. Now, 2017, you met Rosecrans Vic. You would eventually become an intern, and this is where you began to do photography.
Yeah.
Now, how was this process becoming was this something that you wanted to do? Was this something that was suggested?
Okay, so I did photography like in high school and like during college, like as a hobby. Like I had different cameras, and if I would see like a cool tree, I'd be like, oh, I'm gonna pull over and take a picture of that. But I never like thought it would
be something.
Yeah, it was just like a hobby that I had. And then while I was interning, Marina, who was his co-host, was like, hey, like she's just sitting here, like she just goes to get the artist, like why don't we have her like record or do something, you know, so she's not wasting her time. And I was like, I'm open to whatever you guys want. And then Vic's like, oh, well, do you want to take pictures? And I was like, oh shit, I have a camera because I vlog, like yeah, I'll bring it. And then that's just how it started.
Right. Well, wait a minute, we got to take it back to the Kanye West vlog. Now, you took the time to shoot the stuff.
Yep.
You had to edit, and you put it on YouTube. And how long after did you realize it was gone?
30 seconds after, because Kanye don't play.
Wow. So just imagine you doing all of that. You put it on YouTube, and it probably took what? How long it take to upload? Sometimes it take a long time.
Yeah, it took a minute.
Damn. And so all you got is basically the bare video.
Yeah.
You still got it?
Yeah, I still have it.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, at least you still got it.
Yeah, I'm not gonna throw it away after all that time editing it, but yeah.
And then you said that you felt like it was the Sunday worship. Now, how was that whole experience at the Kanye West show?
At that time,
that was at the Forum too.
Yeah, I love the Forum. Oh my God, so much history for me at the Forum. Yeah, it was that album. It was the Life of Pablo tour. So it just like really sparked something in me that made me feel like even though people don't know it yet, like you're the GOAT and you're gonna be the GOAT, you know. So.
I feel that. Okay, then that's right. That confirmation comes throughout the time. It's only right. Now, when we're talking about the photography, y'all, she did not take photos of your average people. Okay, she got Greedo, Rucci, Shoreline Mafia, Jeep Rico, Blueface. Look, if I forget any, please forgive me because I don't know it. You know what I'm saying? Please forgive me. Now, there was one night that you said you were doing 1,000,001 things, you were trying to support everybody, and you went to go work the door for Rosecrans Ave.
Oh my God, yeah.
This was the first time you said somebody asked you for a photo.
Yeah, so I was supposed to be in like 3 places at once. So I had picked up my brothers because they were supposed to come with me to a club event that CODS was hosting. And I was like, wait, I gotta stop by and show love to my Rosecrans fam because they were having a 420 show. And yeah, we ended up not going to meet up with CODS after because I had to work the door, and I was kind of like irritated by it, but I was like, oh well, like
they got little Giggles working the door, man.
I was like, that's not the first time Vic had me working the door. but yeah, I don't mind working the door. But yeah, and I was just working the door, and then somebody came in. His name ended up being it was Vani Ocho, and he was just like, oh my God, you're Giggles. And I was just like, oh shit. And I was like, yeah. And he's like, can I get a picture with you? And I was like, are you sure? And he was like, yeah, like I read all your write-ups, like I fuck with you, and and I thought he was tripping, and I was like, oh, I'll take a picture with you on the way out. And he's like, no, I need it now. And I was just like, all right.
She said, no, I need it now. That, you know, and see, that's stardom right there. Somebody want a picture of me? I ain't got there. You know, somebody, but I don't even know where the picture at. But you know, when you get to that level, you got to understand that you're doing what you're supposed to do. You know, that stuff fulfills you. Coming from everything that you've had to go through to get to that point, it's beautiful. Now we got to talk about going to the events. Okay. Now when Giggles finally started to take pictures, my goodness, y'all, she got pictures with Joel Madden. Now this is somebody that she loves Joel Madden. You know what I'm saying? Now I want you to speak on that because that was a very long caption. Now,
I know.
Talk about the inspiration Joel Madden has been for you.
So, totally gonna give away my age here, but I listened to Good Charlotte a lot in middle school. So just having them regroup and come back, like I had to go to their return show that they had at the Troubadour, and it was just so crazy because I was going to my car to get my hoodie, and he was there, and I was like, I was like, holy shit, nobody's gonna believe me that I met you.
Nobody's gonna know.
Yeah, and he was like, let's take a picture. And I was like, hell yeah. So I got my picture, and it's just crazy because over the years, he would do interviews and stuff. So obviously, like I would tune in, and one of the things that stuck by me that he said was that he would have a 9-to-5 to like fund his career, but when the 9-to-5 wouldn't like give him the day off for a show or something, a gig that he had, that he would quit because there's always 9-to-5s out there. And that really is something that like stuck with me, where I was like, okay, if this job doesn't want to work with me, then like this isn't my end goal. Like I don't want to own this mattress store. I don't want to like, you know what I mean? So being able to meet him after him saying that, and like me keeping that in my head over the years, I was just like, holy shit. I felt like a little kid again.
And see, that's another reason why I think interviews are so important, because you learn that you're not the only person that ever went through that.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? I even heard one take Jay talk about how he was working a 9-to-5. His mom didn't want him to quit, so he started missing shows. He was like, wait a minute, like I'm missing all this money. Like he said in the span of 3 months he had made more money than he would make in 1 year at his job when he finally quit. And that is crazy. You know what I'm saying? Because ultimately you have to listen to these interviews to understand I'm not the only one. So you would also go on to meet Cedric Brown, Kaz, of course. You know what I'm saying? Maya, the Goo Goo Dolls. You know what I'm saying? So you were around some big time people. You know what I'm saying? And so when you take pictures with these people, how nervous? Because sometimes I'll be nervous. I'll be like, man, I want a picture, but I'm nervous. How nervous are you to take a picture?
So unless like, it depends on the setting that I'm in. So some of those photos were like while I was at work for the radio station, so it was okay for me to ask for a photo. But like when I met Cedric Brown and Cause like a long time ago, and I was always hella nervous because you never know, like they're humans too, you know. Facts. We have this picture of them in our heads of like, oh, I hope they're nice, you know, I like their music, blah blah blah.
And they be going through life just like us.
So I never know, like I'm just like, oh, I hope they're having a good day, and like me asking them for a picture doesn't bother them, you know.
I understand that, and that's what goes through my mind too, but sometimes they do not feel like being bothered.
Exactly.
And you know what I'm saying, and you have to learn to understand that. But like they say in this industry, you got to have thick skin. You can't be sensitive. You can't take things personal. You got to learn it. It's just okay. Now, you were going to meet TK and Picasso at the Don't Come to LA show, and one day he tweets that he's in need of an assistant. You hit TK up, things work out, and this would actually lead to you getting your show on Dash Radio. Right?
3 months after.
Okay, and then Mars 3 times. Shout out Mars 3 times. Now, how was it being able to get your own show on Dash Radio?
It was crazy because I met Mars in Texas at South by Southwest, and we had followed each other on social media.
And that was your first flight ever?
Yes. And I will always hate Vic and Callie for making me sit by myself on my first flight, but whatever.
Oh, did you cry?
No.
Oh, okay, I was gonna say.
No, but they said that they checked us all in together, but anyway, doesn't matter. Yeah, he had, when we got back from South by Southwest, he had tweeted like, hey, I'm looking for a girl co-host. So I DM'd him, and I told him like, hey, you know, like how do I audition or whatever. And then we set it up, and he had me do like a preview show, you know. So I hit up Key Riches, and I was like, hey, like I need to do like an audition, so will you pull up so I can interview you? And after that day, he was just like, I looked at your history, like I know what you've done. Like he's like, I'm not even gonna have you be my co-host. I'm just gonna give you your own show.
Ooh, what?
Yeah.
He just gave you your own situation. You wasn't expecting that at all.
Not at all, no. Because I wanted to be I was so used to being Vic's co-host, and I was like, cool, I get to co-host some more, because at the time I was trying to. So that was in March, and then I got the show in April. So, and I had just left Rosecrans, and like when I leave something, like it's kind of like a breakup to me, because I was like, even though Rosecrans is Vic's baby, it was my baby too. So I was really like heartbroken to leave, but I knew that I had to kind of like, you know, like fly away from the nest, sort of. So.
Yeah, and build your own. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And you know, the thing is, like they say, you were prepared. You know what I'm saying? You didn't expect to get your own show.
Exactly.
But because you exceeded expectations, you were blessed like that.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful thing right there. Now, You were, shout out to Mars 3 times again. Oxford's LA, you were a panelist.
Oh yeah.
How was that experience for you? And you said basically you became famous that day. No, I'm just playing.
No.
She got a lot of DMs that day though.
Yeah,
How was that for you?
That was kind of like nerve-wracking because I'm so used to being behind the mic and like uploading things after and being able to edit out like my stutters or whatever. But having the artist perform for you and you having to judge it, like you never know how the artist is gonna react if you don't like the song. Especially
if you be an assignment out there. You know what I'm saying? Simon is a cold cat. You know what
right?
I'm saying?
Yeah, and I feel like I kept it cordial with everybody, but yeah, it's just that day I learned that I still have a long way to go when it comes to like letting people know like, okay, I don't like this, but it doesn't mean that like you're not gonna make it. I think that's something artists need to understand too.
Why do you think that you struggle with letting them know that you might have to grow a little bit better? Like, I don't know if I feel it that much. Why do you think you struggle with that?
I think it's just because they don't, a lot of, as creatives, like everything we create is our baby.
Yes.
So if somebody says like, hey, I don't like this, it's like you're attacking our baby, you know? So it's kind of hard to separate the emotions from it. And I know because I'm like that too. So it's hard to separate the emotions and kind of take a step back and be like, okay, maybe I should change this or maybe I should do, you know? It's just difficult for certain people to take in.
I get you. So did you look at that experience as a success for you, or did you look at that experience and kind of judge yourself more than anything else?
I feel like I judged myself more because I was like, holy shit, like, because my DMs were blowing up like for weeks, like, oh, can you get me in? Because it was a list, like it was first come, first serve. And I was like, damn, like Vic and Callie tell me all the time that like my impact is bigger than I think it is, but it's different to hear them tell me that because they're like my brothers. So I feel like they've watched me from the beginning, so of course they think that, but it's different to have other people, like to have other people tell you that and see it. So I was like, holy shit. And that's when I realized like, okay, like you need to kind of like fake the confidence until you make it a little bit, so that like when I do walk into these rooms, I'm like, cool, and then I end up feeling it. Does that make sense? Kind of like with this interview, how I was nervous in the beginning, and now I'm just like, whatever.
No, over time things get better. I ain't gonna cap, I'm still a little nervous, but, you know what I'm saying, we get it done. You know what I'm saying? Now you talk about Estella. You said you graduated her school of management.
Yeah.
Okay? Shout out to Estella, man. Shout out to Estella. Now, what was that experience like, being able to, you know, get game from her firsthand and learn what you had to learn?
So when I first started working for TK and Picasso, I was just their assistant. So I wasn't really working with artists so much. It was more so like, hey, like the artist is here, tell them where to park type shit. But as things got busy, because they had, you know, Shoreline, Jay, Chai, like everybody, they started to have shows, and I didn't know like artist etiquette of like how I have to arrive early and get wristbands and make sure guest list is checked in and all that stuff.
All that other bone, you know, just all that background stuff that don't nobody know about.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
So she kind of, well, she didn't kind of, she taught me, like I had to shadow her. So I was like her little like mini me, like following her around, and I'm like, okay, this is who I would talk to when I get here, blah blah blah, and stuff like that. And dang, I don't even remember the day, but I know it was the dub show. That was the first time where I did like a show by myself, where I was in charge of like the whole roster, and I was like, cool,
you
like
did your thing.
Yeah, I was like, I could do this. Like this, like it was stressful, but everything turned out like really great. So yeah, that's when I was like, cool.
That's a beautiful thing, because you know, a lot of the time we just got to be thrown out there to really understand we can handle it.
Yeah.
And even if you are nervous, you got to strap up, because it's all on you right now. You know what I'm saying? So did you feel all of that nervousness when it was all on you that day? Did you want to back out at all?
I didn't want to back out at all, because like I didn't want to let down any of the boys, obviously, but like I knew that I was like, okay, if I could do this with our huge ass roster that we have, then I could do this with whoever. Like, and the goal in my head was always to like, okay, learn as much as you can, because you're gonna do this for Dreamville one day. Gotcha. So I was like,
look at her, Dreamville. I know. We gonna get into the J. Cole stuff in a minute.
So I figured like, okay, if I could take care of all of our Baron, and then I could totally like do anything, which whether it's a Dreamville roster or a roster that's a little bit bigger than our Baron, you know. So yeah, everything even though I was nervous all the time, I was like, okay, you have to master this so you could go on to the next step, you know?
And just like the nervousness, we understand when we start to do it, we feel more and more comfortable. So at what point would you say that day that you started to feel like, oh, I got this, come on, let's go. All right, next, come on, let's go.
As soon as like Charline arrived.
Okay.
I was just like, cool, they're here, they're on time.
Yeah.
All I have to do is get them to the stage and like we're good. Like that's really, as soon as all the artists are there, like
you just start to get over it because you understand like it's cool. So that's the thing about fear. You know what I'm saying? Fear is what's in our head.
Yeah.
Once we step out and do it, because I'm gonna tell you one thing I don't want to do ever is I don't want to get in a swimming pool by myself. I don't want to look. I kid you not. We go to a hotel room. Sometimes the sharks be looking exotic. I tell my fiance, you got to stay up in here with me because I'm gonna trip out. I don't know where I got this from, but I can't do it. And that's one thing I'm scared to do. I ain't gonna cap with you. I am scared to do that. Now,
oh my goodness.
With Rosecrans Ave, he interviewed One Take J, 2018. Okay, the very next month, you're hired to work for One Take J.
Yeah.
Now, how was that situation? You probably did you know anything about One Take J when y'all first interviewed him? Okay.
I was so excited. Like that's the thing that like me and Vic kind of like struggled with when I was working for him, is he would be like, don't fangirl, because I was such a fan of like everybody, but I would like control it.
That's a muscle you got to develop.
Yeah, so he helped me like really like tone that muscle because man. But there's still some artists that like I meet and I'm just like fuck, like you know. But everybody else is just like, you know, it's regular now thanks to him. And yeah, it was just really crazy because like he was one of my favorite like up and coming LA artists at the time. And then to have him be there, and like I vlogged that day and he was like, oh, what's up, no. Like if we were homies since forever. And I was like, oh, this is cool. And then yeah, like a month later I got hired as like his manager's assistant, and then I started working for him. So yeah.
I got you. Now when you get the opportunity to work for him, what was the next step? Like what did y'all do when you got that position?
Really it was just like kind of learning him, because each artist is different. So I was working what I worked the most was Shoreline shows, because they were the ones that were like on tour all the time. But when I got like assigned to certain artists, that's when I was like, okay, I have to learn this person and this person. That way I know like, okay, they like to arrive on time, or like I need to have this and this set up.
And that's when you learn what you're gonna stress about.
Yeah, you know. So yeah, like he was just always so easy to work with. So it was kind of like a breeze. I feel like I'm spoiled in a lot of ways, because I feel like if I were to work with other artists, I like having to learn somebody else would kind of be like, oh fuck, because I'm so used to him. You know?
Yeah. Well, I can understand that, because you know another thing is you got to understand it's about them and not you. You know what I'm saying? So you got to like put your feelings to the side, make sure that they get what they want. So as you begin to work with One Take J, the whole One Take crew, what are some of the things that you noticed about them that made you feel just great about their potential and the things that they can do?
They just gravitated to me toward like the most. I don't know why, but I'm always gonna be thankful for it. But yeah, like I wasn't even like thinking about management when they each slowly started to like approach me about it.
So this was just something that they just hit you with, like, do this.
Yeah.
Oh wow. So okay. So when they tell you that they want you to manage them, were you like, me? Why?
Yeah.
Like for
okay,
what?
so technically, so like I was already assigned to Jay at the time, so like that was like a given. But like when Quan approached me about management, I was like, no, like I was like, you're tripping. I was like, I don't even know what I would do for you. And he was just like, no, like I see the way you talk to people and and he was like bigging me up, and I was just like, you're just saying that because like
look, she got a serious face. She's not laughing about this at all.
Like I was just like, nah, you're just bigging me up. Like I was like, there's no way. And then my little sister was with me that day. He was talking to me about it. And then on the way home, she was like, I think you should do it. And my little sister is never wrong. So I was just like, I'm going to think about it. And then, yeah, I've been stuck with him ever since.
That's crazy. Now, how long did you take to adjust to being a manager, to having the conversations, to having to deal with the traveling, and how was that battle for you?
Well, okay, so I didn't really travel that much with them. Like the furthest I would travel was like San Diego. So it wasn't really much to adjust. It was more so like, okay, having to learn how to like stand my ground and like, okay, this is what he wants, this is what he's asking for, type shit, And I had other people around me like Josh, who was co-managing Quan with me at the time. So I was learning a lot from him, and then Vic and Callie manage artists, and then being around our Baron, I got to see like how they moved. So I was like, okay, this is how I would like to do it. So I had a lot of like sponges, or like a lot of people around me, so I could act like a sponge.
Yeah, well, you had been prepared for this the whole time.
Without even realizing.
About it.
Yeah, exactly.
Just like she wasn't thinking about having her own radio show.
Yeah.
But that's the way it go. When you prepare it and they see it, they give it to you. Now, we got to talk about. You know what? After your birthday, happy belated. I said happy birthday to her. Birthday was a couple days ago. But after your birthday, I was just thinking about it. Like, I haven't saw One Take Ocho, I don't know, in probably a year or so. He was actually one of the first interviews I did once I started really being consistent. And I hit him up and I was like, dang, it's crazy how we took two different paths but end up kicking it with the same, with like the same people in a circle. It's crazy. And he was like, yeah, like that's, it's nice to see people after football doing their stuff in the music business. And I'm like, dang, things come full circle. I never imagined that I would ever have a conversation with you. Never. I swear to you, never did. But it's crazy that we sit together today. And I got this interview because I really wanted it. You know what I'm saying? But we got to talk about from being in the crowd, being a fangirl, as you would call it,
fangirl,
to being backstage, on stage, getting exclusive interviews. You got exclusive interview with Baby Stone Gorillas, Big Sad 1900, Blue Bus Clan. Make sure y'all tap in with Giggles Irene Radio and check that content out. How do you feel when you think about, do you ever think about how far you have came? And do you ever have those moments of like, man, I'm proud of myself?
I try not to think about it because I don't want to like make myself more nervous than I am. Like when I have those I'm proud of you moments, it's usually like other people telling me like, bro, like look at how far you've come. So yeah, like the day I did the Blue Bucks interview, when we were finished, I was actually there because Jay was guest appearance. And I was like, oh, let me knock out this interview real quick. And then we were done. Ocho was just like, hey, I haven't told you in a long time, but I'm proud of you. And I was just like, oh, like, and I don't give myself moments to think about that because, like, I try not to compare my journey to others, but like I'm a part of like a tight-knit like media circle in LA that it's like a friendly competition. So I'm like, okay, this is what I'm doing today, but what am I doing tomorrow?
Gotcha.
So sometimes I have to like have the boys or like my sister or somebody tell me like, hey, like breathe, like be proud of yourself,
Yeah, and I understand that, but see, when we're on this journey, we're just goal driven. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like, okay, what's the next thing I need to do? What who do I need to talk to next? What is going to continue to help me grow? Because you don't want to get into this situation and then fade away and it's like, this is what I love. So what made you start to do these exclusive backstage interviews?
It was something that I always wanted to do. Like we had always planned on doing it with Rosecrans when we would do the Don't Come to LA shows, but everything was so hectic and like I was taking photos and then I was helping Vic with this and that, and it was just something that we kind of didn't have like the time to kind of sit down and be like, this is what we're gonna do. And eventually like for Don't Come to LA we had another podcast come in and do backstage interviews, and I was like, okay, it's not my time yet. And then I just told myself, okay, eventually I'm gonna do it. And then I had asked Vic when the Rosecrans Ave Live came back after COVID, I told him like, hey, like I want to cover the show. And then he was like, cool. And I was just gonna pull up with the camera guy and just do a little B-roll, blah blah blah. And then the homie was just like, ask him if we could take the equipment and do interviews. And I was like,
boss up.
Yeah, and I was like, I really don't want to do that. And he was just like, ask.
Yeah.
So I asked, and then
it just worked out. So what was the first backstage interview you did?
The first backstage interview was with Cypress. Was with Cypress at Rosecrans Ave Live.
Okay, and how was that moment for you? I know you were nervous, you know what I'm saying, but you know, when you look at from the very first backstage interview to this one, what are some differences that you have noticed in yourself?
I learned how to tune out like the noise around me. Does that make sense? Because when I first started doing it, or when I pictured myself doing it, I was like, fuck, how am I gonna do it with like their team there? Like, because it's different when you're in a setting, when you're at the station and you're like, okay, they know what they're here for. But everybody's backstage drinking, like, you know, waiting to go on, and then like there I am in the corner with my setup. You know?
No, I feel you. Is you like, okay, well, I gotta get this interview out of you.
Yeah,
come on over here. I feel that. So, you know, like Nipsey Hussle said, he's been through every emotion. You know what I'm saying? I even said in the song, been through all these motions up and down like a seesaw. You know, these are the things that people don't see.
Yeah.
What you go through. When you go home at the end of the day, like you said, you got to put on a confidence front, but when you go home, you take it off. Then you spoke on crying, worrying, like that was one of the reasons why you don't like to. It's okay. People need to know this.
He's going to make me cry right now. No, I'm just kidding.
If I make her cry, let's go viral. No, I'm just kidding. But no, this is a situation that people need to understand. You know, when we go on social media, all you see is cars, clothes, money, backstage parties, the strippers, and you don't really see the personal battle.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I relate to this heavily because this is really what I want to do with my life. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes I wonder if I'm doing enough. Sometimes I wonder if I'm doing good enough. Did this person think I was weird? Do you know what I'm saying? Did I ask too many questions?
Yeah.
You know, so when you know, have those moments to yourself, what helps you overcome these things in order to help you continue to move forward?
Honestly, this is gonna sound so corny, but I literally just I write about it.
It's the truth.
Like I have to write it out, and like if you were to look through my journals, you could see like what days were bad, because you could literally see like the teardrops on the paper. Like I have to write it out, or else like keeping it inside, like it's bad for me. Like and then those drives, like those when I'm in traffic or whatever, like sometimes I'm just like, damn, I need to have like a good cry, and like that's just, you know. But after that, I'm just like, okay, like.
Well, the truth is, it's better out than in. And for those of you who may not know, maybe you should try to write it. You know what I'm saying? Just write how you feeling. And you know, a lot of the time I realize like the stuff that like I may personally go through once I start talking about it, I'll be like, bro, this is so stupid. Like, why? You know what I'm saying? Like, why are you doing this to yourself? This is retarded. But you know, it's beautiful that you let it out. You know what I'm saying? So what are some of the things that you feel like you have applied today, you know what I'm saying, in order to because when you first got started, you weren't as strong as you are today. So what are some of the things that you feel like you have applied to your strategy today to stop you from worrying so much?
To just put it out there. Like I know I couldn't tell you how many like Tumblr accounts I've created, or how many like websites I tried to start where I was like, okay, I'm just gonna post my stories and I'm just gonna write. And then I would overthink and be like, no, what if they don't like this? What if they don't like that? And then when I started vlogging, that's really when my confidence grew, because I was like, okay, you're just gonna upload it, who cares? Like even if you get 2 views, like who cares? You need it for you know? And once I just started putting it out there and it became a habit, I was like, cool, like this is like, you could do it, just don't overthink it. And I'm kind of struggling with that again now, because I haven't written in so long. Like I did a blog piece on Kaylin's Too For Real doing it, and I haven't posted it because I've been overthinking it. But I know that like if I don't put my work out there, then people don't know what I'm capable of. So that's like a little new internal struggle that I'm dealing with, because now I view myself at like a little bit of a higher level. So I have to like conquer that again.
Well, the funny thing is, I bet you hear somebody who's on a higher level and they'll tell you the same thing, you know, but they probably still put it out, because even me, even with the videos I put out, the little motivational videos I put out, sometimes I'm like, bro, this sounds stupid. Ain't nobody gonna feel it. But those be the videos that people like the most. You know what I'm saying? And you know, it's like you never know what you're doing for the next person.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You're inspiring the next person. Whenever you put that two for real write up, I guarantee you, I guarantee you gonna get something that you probably don't expect. People gonna love it. People gonna like it. And that's one thing I noticed. You know, people big up you a lot. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, damn, I didn't know she was a force like that. You know, I didn't know Giggles was a force like that. I mean, being referred to as the queen. You know, shout out to Salad saying what Salad said. You know, just people really big up you, and I hope that you learn to really embrace it.
I'm still learning.
You know, a couple weeks ago was an event here, and I said, Giggles, I need to get this interview in with you. Now, it was originally set for February. She said, well, I'm nobody to be interviewed. I said, Giggles, come on, man. Why would you? You know why? Why do you think that? You know what I'm saying? But I get it. It's kind of like because I kind of look at that kind of like it's being humble. You know, trying to be humble. But then my fiance told me like, no, that's not you being humble. That's not you. Just you not accepting what people say about you. You know what I'm saying? So, that's one thing that we all have to continue to understand. It's a personal battle. We're gonna have to go through it, but you can overcome that. Now. You were gave the radio personality title through Rosecrans Ave, through Rosecrans Radio, but you said you never felt that until you got on your own. Yeah.
And it's not that like it had nothing to do with like Rosecrans personally. It was just I noticed the difference when we would be at events and. Like Vic is the face of Rosecrans, you know, and then I was a co-host, but it was just like, you could see like the difference and like, oh, like I was still looked at as like the camera person. Does that make sense? So, which I was fine with because that was how I came into like Rosecrans a little, you know, and I didn't really accept that I could be like a Letty or like a Vic or like a Big Boy until I got my own show, and that's when like the respect kind of like changed from others, and I was just like, oh, okay, like this is mine, like this is my baby, like, you know what I mean? So yeah, it's just it's different when you're when it's yours. Like I don't know how to explain it, but it just is.
Well, you know, you have the freedom to be you.
That too, and not saying that like I was myself when I was with Rosecrans, but like when I had my own, when I finally got my own show, I was like, cool, like I get to interview who I want. Like I want to, if I want to talk about this for an hour, then I could edit it like this. Not to say that I didn't have that freedom with them, but I just knew that working with other people's teams, I didn't want to step on anybody's toes or over suggest or like you know. That's just I had like my own like little bit of freedom with it.
I understand that, but you know, it's a process and even learning yourself that way. You know what I'm saying? Because you throughout the whole time, you still got to figure out what you want to do and how you will be. And having your own platform just allows you to explore it just like that. Now, coming into the industry, you know, we learn as we go. You know, now you spoke of just like all I would hear is change that from people who do not have experience in the industry. You know what I'm saying? And I went through the same thing. And it, you know, got to the point where I'm like, let me talk to somebody. That's why I asked you so many questions. I was like, I need to talk to people who do what I do. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So when you finally got around people who do what you do and you begin to learn the different things, did that help you become comfortable within yourself, learning that you can just be you?
Yes and no, because like I had to like hear other people's stories to kind of like to realize like, okay, obviously our stories aren't the same, but the one thing that was consistent is when they stopped listening to everybody else's, when they started to make it. You know. Yeah. So once I stopped like overthinking like the way I dressed and like what music I listened to and like, you know, because everybody like because of social media, we have everybody's input all the time. Exactly. So I was just like, okay, I need to be comfortable with myself, whether I'm at Rosecrans, backstage, like with my friends, wherever, so that I could, when I step into anything, I'm me and I'm comfortable. You know. I get you.
Now, this is the time that she's been waiting for. Let's get into this J. Cole stuff, okay? You know, because she just recently went to a J. Cole concert, and she was going off about y'all and following her. Now, let's talk about this J. Cole. So how has J. Cole and this whole Dreamville thing been so helpful for you throughout your journey?
Okay, I know this is really corny to say because social media,
It's not
but I'm
corny.
J. Cole's music just has always helped me throughout college. Like his mixtapes were what I listened to on the way to like my shitty jobs, where I was just like, okay, this is just temporary. Like this is what I'm gonna use to like fund the dream, you know. And yeah, like I got to meet him once and I got to tell him all of this, but it's just crazy how he really had an impact on me throughout like my whole career without even realizing it, because like he was my motivation to keep going. Like my podcast, when I first started, when I would upload on SoundCloud trying to perfect myself, like I would talk about like Ari Lennox's album, Cause music, like I had went to one of his shows and I had talked about that. It was pretty much a Dreamville podcast. And it's funny because I stopped writing for Alternative Corner because I didn't have the time. So I started writing about concerts that I would go to on my personal blog. And I was already assisting for Mies at the time. So I had MIDI Gang in my bio, and like, I don't know how the fuck Vic found me on Twitter, but he did. And he watched my J. Cole vlog when he performed at the Forum for the For Your Eyes Only tour, and I wrote about it. And from that vlog and that blog, he DM'd me and said like, hey, I really like your writing. I want you to write for Rosecrans. And that was just like, boom.
Just boom, huh?
Yeah, yeah.
And it's crazy because I have been hearing Vic's name before I even thought about doing what I was doing. I heard his name on the radio years ago. Yeah. And I'm like, damn, Rosecrans Vic, like that's him in the flesh. You know, it's so crazy. But okay, you get this opportunity with Vic. Were you starstruck at any point?
With Vic? No. I don't think I was until I fully saw like his impact when we were at a show, and I was just like, oh shit, like this is Rosecrans Vic, you know? Yeah, but yeah, he was just always so. I was working so much with Mies, I wasn't really at like LA events, so I knew that he had the blog, but I didn't know like at what like caliber like he had it at, you know. And then when I found out that he was doing like Rosecrans Radio and stuff, and he knew that I wanted to do radio, and I had officially met Vic in person when he interviewed MIDI Gang at Dash Radio. And he was just like, oh, it's nice to finally meet you, and then that week after, he was like, you should pull up every Monday when we record, and you could like, you know, watch us and stuff. So that's how that started.
Man, shout out to Vic for that opportunity right there, for even seeing that in you. That's deep. Now, I gotta ask you, Giggles, what do you clap it up for when you think about your journey and being where you are today?
That I didn't give up.
That's right.
You know, because there's been a lot of times where, like just last month, like sometimes, you know, it's just you just don't know when when it's just gonna hit you, where it's like, am I really doing this? Like, should I be doing this? You know. But yeah, I don't want to cry.
No, it's cool. But being transparent is very, very, very important. Yeah. Because there's somebody that's going to see this that's looking up to Giggles. Yeah. And they got to know that Giggles went through it too. Which is so crazy. They got to know Giggles went through that. You know what I'm saying? And the fact Giggles made it, I can make it too. Exactly. You know? Once again, I got to give a shout out to my guy, Chef Junie. He is bringing his recipes to a book, and just before the holidays, so y'all make sure y'all tap in with Chef Junie and be sure to cop that book. This is something that you can apply to your repertoire, whether you cooking or whether you want to impress your wife, girlfriend, husband, whatever it is, with something secretive, and let them know you really get down on this stuff. Shout out Chef Junie. So, Giggles, what can we expect? Shoot, we only got another month. What is Giggles putting together for us within the next month or coming year that we looking forward to seeing?
Within the next year, there are a few series that I want to start. Okay. It's just, I just hired a bunch of interns. Okay. So I'm trying to expand the Giggles team.
That's right. She is looking for photographers,
videographers, and graphic designers.
Okay, so cool. So y'all tap in,
but yeah, it's a struggle doing everything on your own, and like as much as my show is my baby, I know that, like, you know, the same way Vic let me in, I have to let others in too.
That's right.
And yeah, so hopefully some new series. I will be a part of a new podcast that's going to start in January.
Okay, cool.
So I'm going to be a co-host on that. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Well, y'all make sure y'all stay tuned with Giggles Irene, man. She got big things coming up. I really appreciate you coming through.
No, thank
really
you for
appreciate
having
you
me.
chopping game. Letting us know more about your story and being so transparent. I want whoever to watch this, if y'all looking up to Giggles and understand, if she can make it, you can make it too. Rather you got to run a mattress store by yourself or whatever the case may be, you go out and get it just like Giggles did, y'all. Once again, it's your boy J.Brock, Giggles Irene, Clap It Up LA. We out.